Have you ever wondered whether some foods Americans eat every day are restricted or even banned in other countries? For many people, the assumption is simple. If a product is sitting on a supermarket shelf, it must be safe. But food regulations can be very different from one country to another. Today, we're looking at American foods and ingredients that have faced restrictions overseas, and the reasons behind those restrictions. One important thing to remember: being restricted in another country does not automatically mean a food is dangerous. Different governments use different standards when evaluating ingredients and potential health risks. Let's start with Red 40. This synthetic red food coloring is used in a variety of American products, including certain red gelatin desserts. Red 40 has faced tighter regulations in several countries because of concerns surrounding artificial food coloring. In Europe, foods containing certain artificial colors can require warning labels related to possible effects on children's activity and attention. And in the United States, food dyes have also become a major subject of regulatory debate in recent years. Next is BHT, or butylated hydroxytoluene. BHT is a preservative designed to keep fats and oils from becoming rancid. It has been used in products such as breakfast cereals, crackers, snacks, and other processed foods. But BHT has faced restrictions in some countries because researchers and regulators have raised questions about its potential long-term effects. In fact, the FDA reopened a review of BHT in human food in 2026, showing that the discussion over this ingredient is far from over. Then there's carrageenan. Carrageenan comes from red seaweed and is commonly used to thicken and stabilize processed foods. You can find it in products such as dairy alternatives, ice cream, yogurt, processed meats, and other packaged foods. One major concern mentioned in the original discussion is its use in infant formula. European regulations do not permit carrageenan as a food additive in baby formula. Another controversial ingredient is yellow 5. This artificial coloring has been used to give foods their bright yellow appearance. Concerns about artificial food colors have led to restrictions and warning requirements in different parts of the world. The European Union, for example, requires warning statements on foods containing certain artificial colors because of concerns about possible effects on children's activity and attention. Now let's talk about ractopamine-treated meat. Ractopamine is a feed additive used in livestock production to promote growth and improve feed efficiency. Its use has been restricted or prohibited in numerous countries, including major markets such as China and members of the European Union. The differences in regulations have become an important issue in international meat trade. Then we have something found in a completely different category: instant mashed potatoes. Some instant potato products have used BHA, another preservative that helps prevent fats from spoiling. BHA remains permitted in the United States within regulated limits, but it has faced restrictions elsewhere because laboratory research has raised concerns about possible health effects. And now we come to one of the most controversial ingredients on this list: potassium bromate. This ingredient has traditionally been used in commercial bread and dough to strengthen the dough and improve its rise and texture. The controversy comes from studies linking high exposure in animals to cancer. Because of these concerns, potassium bromate has been prohibited or restricted by many countries, including countries in Europe, Canada, India, and China. But it remains legally permitted in the United States under certain conditions, although its safety continues to be reviewed. Another ingredient that has faced international restrictions is azodicarbonamide. It's a flour treatment and dough conditioner that can improve the texture and consistency of commercially produced bread. The ingredient has been banned for food use in the European Union and Australia, while it remains legally permitted for certain uses in the United States. Then there are Pillsbury-style biscuits and other processed baked goods. Some formulations have historically contained ingredients associated with artificial trans fats. Although regulations in the United States have significantly reduced the use of partially hydrogenated oils, older formulations and different international recipes have created differences between markets. Another major controversy involves genetically modified foods. Genetically engineered crops are heavily regulated in many countries. One example from the original discussion is Hawaii's rainbow papaya. The papaya was developed after the papaya industry was devastated by the papaya ring spot virus. The genetically engineered variety helped protect production and eventually became a major part of Hawaii's papaya industry. Then there's coffee creamer. Some versions of coffee creamer have historically contained partially hydrogenated or hydrogenated vegetable oils. These ingredients have raised concerns because of their relationship with trans fats and cardiovascular health. Again, formulations can vary depending on the country, so the same brand name does not necessarily mean the same ingredients everywhere. Another controversial example is azodicarbonamide in baked goods. This chemical has been used as a dough conditioner and flour treatment. European regulators banned it for food use, while it has remained permitted in the United States. The debate surrounding it illustrates one of the biggest differences between food regulations around the world. Countries don't always reach the same conclusion about the acceptable level of risk. Now let's talk about chlorine-treated chicken. Some poultry produced in the United States can undergo chemical treatments after slaughter to reduce harmful bacteria such as Salmonella and Campylobacter. The European Union has prohibited the use of chemical pathogen reduction treatments on poultry since 1997. The disagreement isn't simply about chlorine itself. European regulators have preferred systems that emphasize hygiene throughout production rather than relying on chemical treatment at the end. Another product category involves farm-raised salmon.
Farm-raised salmon can be given feed containing astaxanthin to produce the pink or reddish color consumers associate with salmon. This practice has been the subject of controversy and different regulatory approaches in different countries. And finally, there's dairy produced using synthetic growth hormones. Some American dairy production has involved hormones such as RBST. Their use and regulation differ dramatically around the world, with the European Union, Canada, and Japan taking a more restrictive approach. The debate has involved animal welfare, milk production, and possible health concerns. So, what should we take away from all of this? The biggest lesson isn't simply that American food is dangerous, or that food from other countries is automatically safer. The real story is that food safety regulations vary dramatically around the world. An ingredient can be legal in one country, restricted in another, and completely prohibited somewhere else. Some restrictions are based on scientific evidence, some on precaution, and some on differences in how regulators evaluate uncertain long-term risks. And as new research emerges, those rules can change. So the next time you pick up a familiar American food, don't just look at the brand on the front. Take a look at the ingredients on the back, because the exact same product can sometimes have a very different recipe depending on where in the world it's being sold.